Good afternoon. My name is Dolores Utero. I'm the TMC manager for the Georgia Department of Transportation. And I will be speaking about Georgia DOT's TRIP program, also known as the Transport Towing and Recovery Incentive Program, as we call TRIP. And I'll be providing an overview of how our program was developed and how it currently operates. Next slide, please. And my agenda today, as I mentioned, is just providing a quick overview of how a program works, how we go about going through trip activation, what are trip time requirements, how our current trip tours are certified, what it takes for us to have trip activators, who our trip activators are, who can activate an incident, and what it takes for an incident to be qualified as a trip, qualified event, what our current payouts are in our program, what the requirements are for training, and then what our benefits are that we are seeing, from the GADOT department, and also from the state. Next slide, please. The Georgia Trip Incentive Towing and Recovery Incentive Program is a GDOT initiative that provides financial incentives to designated heavy-duty towing and recovery companies for timely response and clearance of large commercial motor vehicle and incident from designated locations on the Georgia highway system. It was deployed in 2008 in the Metro Atlanta area, and since then it has expanded over the years outward from Atlanta, and most recently we completed an expansion into the Macon area. The main objective of this program is the safe, rapid, and efficient response, and to ensure that towing and recovery operations are conducted for the safe, quickly, and efficient handling of major incidents on Georgia State interstates, to reduce the high responder injuries, and also to reduce secondary crashes. In this way, we are minimizing the risk of, as I mentioned, the injuries to first responders, and also preventing secondary crashes by clearing these incidents in a proper way. Promptly manner. We're also helping reduce congestion. We're enhancing traffic flow. We're alleviating traffic congestion, which is usually caused by this major commercial vehicle incidents. And next slide, please. This map that you see here is showing you that currently TRIP covers about 470 roadway miles within Metro Atlanta area, and these 470 roadway miles have been broken down into 20 different zones that are covered by our different TRIP qualified heavy duty towers that have voluntarily applied and have been qualified into our TRIP program. And this map, as I said, shows what these zones are, and the interstates that are being covered within our TRIP program. Next slide. And as I mentioned in the previous slide, this is the Macon area, which covers about roughly 40 miles with 3 zones that were expanded in August 1st of 2023. Next slide. This is one of a few of our metrics dashboards that we use to kind of keep track of how the trip program is, performing. And this shows the average duration of incidents from, before the program was implemented. You can see what the duration of an incident was, of commercial vehicles before the trip program was was implemented versus, now in 2024, what the average duration of a commercial vehicle with, the use once notice to proceed for is given to a heavy duty wrecker. And this is, as I said, what we see from what our average duration for what the roadway clearance is. And we maintain all of these metrics just to show what how the this program is performing, just to make sure that we are gearing towards that mission to reduce those impacts are reducing, and that we're making sure that we are clearing those commercial vehicles incidents faster from the roadway. Next slide, please. Trip activation. How is a trip activated? Trip is activated by a trip activator on scene, and a trip activator and calls. We have a dedicated line at the TMC, and when a commercial vehicle incident is identified on the scene, the trip activator calls the TMC and notifies the operator or supervisor at the TMC that they are activating trip, and the operator or supervisor then calls and notifies the heavy duty wrecker within depending on which zone the incident is located, and they are dispatched then a trip. One thing to note that is that a trip is not activated until a call from TMC is placed to that specific trip tower. The authorized personnel qualified within our program to activate a trip is listed here. We have our Georgia State Patrol officers, local law enforcement, local fire and rescue personnel, our HERO operators, our highway emergency response, also known as HERO, our CHAMP operators, and also our authorized GADOT maintenance personnel. Next slide, please. How are our trip towers certified? As of 2024, we have, as I mentioned before, 20 trip certified tow and recovery companies that are currently participating in our program. And within those, we have 159 trip certified tow company supervisors, 37 trip trained tow company operators. And within this program, we have 919 total responders trained to activate trip. Our activators track in the response and clearance times, and all these times are called into the TMC. Our operators at the TMC log all of these times into our ATMS system, and all of those times are recorded in our event log, and that all of that is documented and submitted with the invoices, and we maintain all of these times also in our event detail report, and maintained as documentation of all of these trip events. The trip activators monitor performance and safety of all of the trip events, and the trip activators also coordinate with the GDOT TMC, as I mentioned before. Next slide. What are our GDOT trip time requirements? Once the TMC is notified of a trip event, the TMC notifies the trip tower that an event has been tripped. And between, we have specific requirements, between our peak rush hour times, and between those times, a supervisor is required to respond to a scene within 30 minutes, and all other support tracks have to respond within 40 minutes. All other times, the supervisor has to respond within 45 minutes, and all the support trucks have to respond within 60 minutes. The importance to note here is the supervisor from the towing company is one of the most important responding units here, is because he is the most knowledgeable person from the towing company. So he will be able to determine what type of equipment, what type of response is needed from the heavy duty wrecking company. And that's why, his response time is shorter, and, and then the rest of the equipment is responding, I guess later. And then once notice to proceed is given, the towing company has 90 minutes to open all lanes. Next slide, please. What are our trip incentives? And a trip qualified towers will receive a financial incentive for their response to an incident that meet, the following conditions. We have three payout incentives. One is at event type 1, which pays out a $600 mobilization fee. An event type 1 is, a trip call has been called out, and once an incident has been tripped, it cannot be canceled per our specifications. And an event type 1 is if a call has been activated, but either a hero or a champ have been able to relocate the vehicle to the shoulder, or the vehicle, once the call has been activated, is able to move on their own, a tower will still be paid out a $600 mobilization fee. Our event 2 is a $2,500 payout fee to a qualified tower that has responded to an incident within all required, when all required personnel and all equipment fees have arrived on scene, and all lanes have been cleared within the 90 minutes from NTP. And then we also have an additional $1,000 that is paid out when additional equipment is requested by the trip activator. And that is if, we have a significant cleanup, or, they need to ask for additional equipment, and the tower asks the trip activator that they need additional equipment, and that additional equipment is approved during the incident. Next slide. And this just shows how the payouts that, average incident payouts that, the department has invested in the program from, between January 2016 to 2020, and then from 2019 until this year in May 2024. It shows you the average of how much we have been paying out in the program over the years, and that's just it just shows you how much investment and how much of payouts we how much of trips, activations, and payouts we see from year to year. Next slide, please. What are our trip training requirements? All trip participants need to complete the National Team Responder Training, also formerly known as SHARP 2. That's just to ensure that all trip participants practice safe team practices, are familiar with quick clearance strategies, and also that they establish safe traffic incident management. We need to ensure that Also, training requirements is to ensure that safety vests must be worn during all incident, that all safety vests are worn during incident clearance, and also that all training requirements, that all training participants are familiar with incident command training. Next slide, please. And just to kind of go over what the safety benefits of quick clearance times that are observed from a department standpoint. We have seen that we benefit from less responder exposure, fewer secondary incidents, as we are able to see that we are able to clear this major incidents faster. We have lesser emergencies in the queue, and then we are also, able to benefit from improved air quality. We have lesser idling, from this, lower queues, and we are able to get the traffic moving faster. Next slide, please. We have completed, just to be able to quantify what the benefits of this program provide the department and also just the state. We have completed just cost benefit ratios, from the beginning of the program, and then the most recent one we completed back in 2019, just of a cost benefit ratio, just evaluating and seeing how much benefit it provides, this program provides the department. And I wanted to show you just to see continually what benefits we're seeing from this program. And back in 2011, we saw a BC ratio of 10.97. And then back the last time we did an analysis on this program was in 2019. And we saw that, we were continually seeing an improvement on this program. And it had increased from 10.9 to 26.5. We are in discussions of, doing another analysis to just see kind of how, what the continued benefits are of this program. So we'll probably complete another analysis of this probably towards the end of this year. Next slide, please. That's where all I wanted to cover. And if you have any additional questions on this program, or if you want to get more information on our TIM programs, these are all of our contact email addresses for TIM or our TIM program or our TRIP program. Please feel free to reach out directly to us. And also, if I'll be happy to answer your questions, at the end.